What's up, everybody? D-Man back, and welcome to I can't. Why am I doing so many weird movements in my intros now? What's up, everybody? D-Man back, welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs Kong. Discussion video. It's a discussion video. Once again, I hate myself. Just like in the last video, no footage of the Godzilla vs Kong leak thing. Actually, I have a little bit of information. I feel bad because I can't share it with you guys, but I do have a little bit of information on why Warner Brothers was going so hard on the leak, why they were taking it down like crazy, why they were just so protective over it. And they actually have a pretty good reason, but at the same time, that reason, it shows a pretty big oversight on their side. I understand why they're doing it now. They do have a good reason. It's not because they're like worried about the film or because they're like scared of first impressions of the movie. That's not at all the case. They do have a reason for it, but as for now, I get it. So out of respect for them, I'm not going to show the image, but I will still show the art of the image and fan art of the image. And you guys have been great. You guys have been making like some pretty funny art based off that image so that us YouTubers could get away with showing it pretty scotch-free. So I appreciate ya. Anyways, we got a lot to cover this video, so we're gonna try and speed through it. Starting out, I was a little bummed because Godzilla vs Kong, I wasn't as hyped for it as I thought I would be. And I was hoping that the comment section would be so hyped for it that they'd get me hyped for it. And the comment section on my last video was pretty mixed. There wasn't a lot of people crazy hyped for it. So I ran a poll on the channel to see what you guys thought, just get your guys' thoughts. And 76% of you said you were excited by the image, 18% of you said you were conflicted about it, and 6% of you said the image did not get you excited. Those poll numbers do not reflect what I saw in my comment section yesterday, because overall yesterday you guys were more negative than positive on the image. So I'm actually happy to hear that you guys are still hyped for the movie. Like I said, I'm trying to remain as optimistic as possible, trying to remain as excited as possible, so that's where I'm at. But more importantly, the more important poll that I ran yesterday shows that only 65% of you guys tell the truth, because I asked, when do you do your homework if it's assigned over the weekend? 25% of you are liars. You said you do it Friday. Unless you're doing it Friday in school like I used to do, you're not doing it Friday. Don't try and pull any tricks on me. We all know you procrastinate. 10% of you said Saturday. What on earth? Who does homework on a Saturday? And 65% of you, my boys, said you do it on Sunday. Me too. Although I did get a lot of comments on that going, where's the Monday option? I do mine right before class. You got me. That is it's a fair option. Some people are like, what the hell is he talking about? Why did he even run that poll? No one knows. I just wanted to. All right, let's talk about the point of the video. If you didn't know, chapter times are in the description below, and you can skip to whichever part of the video you want. Now you do, and now you know going forward, they're always in the description. So if you're like, why do I have to sit here and listen to him blabber at the start? You don't. That's entirely on you. Where are Godzilla and Kong fighting in this image? What is going on? Also, for everyone who's been pointing out that the new Kong design looks a lot like the 76 Kong design, yeah, I absolutely see that. I actually can't believe I didn't mention that in my video yesterday, because that's the first thing I said to my dad when I saw the clip. I was like, wow, that looks just like the 70s Kong, and it does. It looks just like him. I'm amazed that I didn't mention that. All right, let's talk about the context. Where are they fighting? What are they on? What is happening? It looks to me like the reason Godzilla is not fighting back, he's in like such an awkward position, is because he's either just getting up on top of whatever he's on, or he's not aware that Kong's there. He's not in a defensive pose. He's certainly not in an intimidating pose. His tail doesn't raise up like it does in King of the Monsters. He's not in an intimidating pose. I think he's caught off guard here, which is why Godzilla looks so weird. He also looks potentially a little hunched over. So yeah, maybe Godzilla's hunched over. Maybe he's just getting up on top of whatever they're fighting on. I don't know. Yeah, I think Kong gets the drop on him here. Anyways, let's talk about what they're fighting on top of, because that's been a huge topic of conversation. A lot of people are like yelling at me in the comment section of my last video saying that it's obviously a boat and not a pier, because I said it could be a pier or a dock of some sort. I'm going to stand by that it could be a pier or dock of some sort. I think this could be a matter of perspective. There is clearly a boat-like shape here, and that could be just a trick of the eye because it's silhouette, so we could just be associating it as a boat. I still think that's a huge possibility. Or it could be a trick of perspective. Maybe there's a boat in the foreground and they're on a pier behind it. I don't totally know. Yeah, I can totally see it. I see the boat shape underneath Godzilla's tail. I see what you guys are talking about, that curvature to it, right? That's what we're all looking at when we say it's a boat. For those of you who don't know, that's what we're looking at. There's a curvature curvature to the pier or whatever it is, to the structure underneath Godzilla's tail that makes it look like a boat. Yeah, so I get that. I understand that. But I just think that, as we'll talk about here later, the shot is way too stationary for it to be anything but a stable structure. If it was a boat, it'd be rocking back and forth in the water. There'd be some movement to it, which is why I say so strongly that it can't be a boat, because there's no movement to it. There's nothing going on here. Yeah, it's a 3-second clip, but don't give me that BS. A boat would be moving in 3 seconds. I'm not an idiot. Everyone who sees this knows that something's wrong with it. Even if you like the shot like I do, you can still acknowledge that there's something weird going on with the fact that there's no movement to whatever they're standing on, so it has to be a stable structure for it to realistically make sense. And we'll talk about realism here in a little bit, but I'm just saying I think that's important to note, is that there's no movement here, and so it makes sense that it's a trick of perspective. They're on a dock of some sort and there's a boat in front of them. But what if it is an aircraft carrier? Well, let's talk about that possibility. It has the shape of an aircraft carrier. It seems to be missing quite a bit of the structure that I would think an aircraft carrier would have. I know we see a little bit of something near Kong's leg, and I know you guys can't see it because I'm showing fan art instead of the actual thing, but there's a little bit of a square structure near Kong's leg, so I guess that could be the structure of the boat, but it just doesn't seem big enough for that to be. I would think that the structure of an aircraft carrier would be a little larger. Supposedly there's planes underneath Godzilla's tail, because you can see like little lumps under Godzilla's tail, but you can't tell that for certain. It's way too low resolution. There's something there, I get that, but I don't know for sure if it's planes. And you know, the rumors are that they're on an aircraft carrier, so that certainly lends itself to the possibility that they're on an aircraft carrier. Now, here's the big controversy of the last video. Can an aircraft carrier hold Godzilla and Kong? My answer is, well, yes, but actually no. If we were going ultra realistic here, and of course we're not, but I'm just saying if we were, their concentrated weight in these sections of Godzilla's feet and Kong's feet, it would break straight through. It's like the idea that Superman couldn't actually stop a plane. I think The Boys explores that a little bit. He just punched right through it. So no, you can't actually stand on an aircraft carrier if you're that big. You just puncture a hole straight through whatever you're standing on. But who cares? It's a monster movie. Let's throw that sort of physics out the window, because that doesn't totally matter here. These two monsters moving around on any aircraft carrier that actually exists would sink it. It would cause weight balance issues. It would sink it. It'd tilt the boat. I don't care if a boat this size, any sort of aircraft carrier that is long enough to hold them, because yes, I acknowledge that some real world aircraft carriers are long enough to hold these guys. They can't support the weight. It's not like their weight is evenly distributed. And sure, I'm taking away the whole puncturing a hole straight through wherever they're standing idea, but still, the boat would be weighted down. The aircraft carrier would be weighted down towards them. And by the way, no, you can look into it. For the most part, the highest weight limit of the vast majority, I think there's only like one aircraft carrier that proves me wrong here, they go up to 100,000 tons. Godzilla himself in King of the Monsters was just barely under 100,000 tons. So with Kong on there as well, it's not holding them. And there's one that I think can hold more, but factoring in Kong's weight as well, no way. Plus the movement, that's really it. With the movement of these two monsters, it wouldn't work. I don't know if you've ever been on a small boat or a raft, something to scale, you know, for them on this thing, and then you put that to scale for you on a raft or a small boat. Whenever you move, you rock that thing. I know because I've spent time on the water. I have some pretty awesome commenters. I gotta give you guys props, and thank you to anyone who I'm talking about, because you guys are awesome. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. I have a few Navy officers, either retired or current, who watch my videos, and I guess not all of them are officers, but a bunch of people who work in the Navy, who are in that field. Quite a bit of them commented on my last video, and every single one of them said, no, absolutely not. One of these monsters, let alone both of them, could not stand on an aircraft carrier without sinking it. It just wouldn't happen. I gotta give a shout out to one of my subscribers. I don't actually know if he's a subscriber, but one of the people I talked to on Twitter in particular, because this guy's a legend. He was in Godzilla King of the Monsters as a submariner. He's a retired Navy officer, I believe. He was actually a CPO, and he worked for the Navy for 25 years. Is that the proper term, worked for the Navy? He served in the Navy for 25 years. His name is Kevin Johnson, and he's a legend. I reached out to him to ask, could Godzilla and Kong stand on any aircraft carriers? And his answer is no. And I gave him Godzilla's weight from King of the Monsters and Kong's weight from Kong's Skull Island and said, with this information, could they stand on an aircraft carrier? His answer is, and I will quote, nope, not even close. But at this point, I'll take anything. He's actually very positive on this shot. He really likes it and he's super hyped for the movie. He said they should have shown the ship moving at some point just to give the fact that these two behemoths are on it. The water should be turning, the ship should be on angles, the monsters should be moving to counterbalance. And then he goes on to talk about how he doesn't really care about realism because he's just excited that the movie is coming out. And sure, fair enough. I'm agreeing though. There is something wrong with this shot, and that is the fact that there is no movement of the boat. Even if we're gonna say they can stand on there for even a little bit without sinking it, there needs to be something happening here. That's my big issue here. I'm not saying that, oh, they can't stand on it at all. If they're standing on it though, it should be dipping into the water and sinking. Even Evangelion gets that right, and that's an anime that disregards all real world physics. A lot of people think that I'm arguing for realism in Godzilla movies, and I'm not. I'm not arguing that Godzilla movies need to be realistic because they aren't. Godzilla's not a realistic concept. I'm totally fine with the Showa era Godzilla movies being crazy. It's awesome. I love it. What I do argue for, and what I am arguing for, is consistency in the universe. This universe has clearly established rules, specifically set forth mostly in 2014 in Kong Skull Island, because King of the Monsters has some stupid things that I think break the physics, such as Godzilla falling from the sky should have created a huge crater where he lands, but it doesn't for some reason. But outside of that, for the most part, the universe is totally consistent in its physics, and that is, everything we've seen is real world physics, except that there are giant monsters. That's the only difference. Everything we've been shown up to this point would suggest that these monsters would sink the ship, or would even just be too large to get on the ship. I mean, take Godzilla 2014 for instance, when he's bigger than the aircraft carriers shown. And I know that all aircraft carriers can vary in size, but still. I personally don't like the idea of them being on top of it because it takes away the weight of the monsters, but that's a totally different topic. And a lot of people saying, oh, well, Godzilla King of the Monsters pushed the boundaries so much, they have so much crazy stuff, why can't this just be some sort of new physics? Why can't they just have new physics? If you watch the Godzilla King of the Monsters special features, which I highly encourage you to do, they have a whole special features talking about the advancements that they made in this universe. They talk about things such as the technological limits that they pushed to. And they have a lot of comments on how they didn't want things to be too sci-fi. They wanted things to be as grounded as possible. They said the tech in Godzilla 2 is supposed to be something we could realistically achieve in 5 years from now, from 2019. So they're supposed to be 5 years ahead of where we are now. That's what we're dealing with in the MonsterVerse. We're not dealing with Mechagodzillas and everything like that, at least according to what they wanted to do in King of the Monsters. And that's what I'm saying here, is it feels like this shot, if it is an aircraft carrier and it's not sinking, breaks the physics of the universe and breaks the realism that even in Godzilla King of the Monsters, by far the least realistic film in the MonsterVerse, was still pushing for. But what if it is sinking? Okay, well sure, the trailer description says it's sinking, so it could be sinking, and we do see a lot of smoke behind Kong. That could be where it's sinking from, but it isn't sinking. It would be at an angle if it was sinking. This is a flat structure they're standing on, which leads me to believe it's a pier or a dock or something, because it's not tilting into the water, it's not slowly sinking. The description specifically says that half of it is submerged by the time Kong punches Godzilla, and in this image, that is clearly not the case. And sure, we only have 3 seconds, bad quality footage, you can make all the excuses you want. What we're looking at is not what was described. That could be a bad translation, but at the same time, the image we're looking at is not a sinking ship. You would be able to see at least a little bit that the ship was moving, and it doesn't have any movement. What if it's the Argo of the Sea? Sure, I could see that. A lot of people have been making the argument that it could be the Argo of the Sea, a giant island-sized aircraft carrier. Okay, alright, that's fine, I guess. That's not really the topic of conversation. I'm talking about if it's an aircraft carrier, not a made-up boat. Lots of people have already kind of identified this, though, as real-world aircraft carriers. They've already pretty much picked out like a model and everything, so, you know, you can say what you will about that. But yeah, I guess the Argo of the Sea. I'm sure it could hold them if it was big enough, but the thing I have to say to that is that there is no Argo of the Sea. At least there's no need for an Argo of the Sea. It's specifically said in Godzilla King of the Monsters, the special features, the Argo was built to basically get rid of aircraft carriers. It is a flying aircraft carrier. That is what the Argo is. It deploys Ospreys in the air. The Argo jet is supposed to take away the need for an aircraft carrier. So the Argo jet, a lot of people have been saying, well, where does that land? The Argo jet doesn't need to land on a big barge in the middle of the ocean. It doesn't need a big aircraft carrier because it is one. I guess we don't know enough about the Argo jet's fuel situation to be able to say, oh, well, they need to go to refuel in the middle of the ocean. Everything we've been shown up to this point suggests that they don't. But yeah, sure, it's the Argo of the Sea. What the hell purpose do they have for it? I don't know. A lot of people have been saying maybe it's a ship used to transport Kong. To that, I'm gonna say no, it's not. How do they plan to get Kong on it? How? Think about that for a second. What are they gonna do? Use a trank dart to knock him out? Are you kidding me? I don't think there's gonna be nearly enough red berry juice to knock this big boy out. Look how big he is. He's bigger than Godzilla in the image. That's because Godzilla's hunched over. Save it. Why would he need a transport ship? Kong doesn't need a transport ship. Just let him swim or use the Hollow Earth. Be creative. I made a whole video talking about that, so I'm not going to waste my time here, but that's basically the gist of it. I don't know what the hell they're fighting on. I still think that they are fighting on some sort of land structure, something structurally sound. I think they're fighting on. I don't think it's a ship. It's not moving like a ship would move. It has no motion to it. I'm not actually saying like, no, it's not a ship as a definitive. It isn't a ship. I'm saying it shouldn't be a ship because it doesn't act like a ship. It doesn't obey the laws of the universe like a ship should. That's what I'm saying. It probably is a ship, but like if it is a ship, maybe they want to do some touch-ups to that in the year between now and when the movie comes out to make it act like a ship. They're on the Argo of the Sea. I don't know. Let's wait till we get some HD footage. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time in the next one. Please feel free to yell at me some more in the comments about things that you're just making up off the top. Seems so aggressive. Hey, you guys can do whatever you want. You know, if you like the video, I appreciate it. If you don't like the video, you can voice your opinions on that down below. It's all right. Feel free to do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. D-Man out.